Well, hello, my wonderful broskies of the Maverick Nation, broskies and broskies of the Maverick Nation, and welcome to another What If from the Dark Side Maverick Nation to you. The Dark Side Maverick to you. Yep. This new What If is going to be called What If Izuku Was a God of Destruction, a God. So basically, it's going to be another Dragon Ball related What If, in the fact that, God of Destruction. It's kind of a Dragon Ball thing, a Dragon Ball Super related thing. And yes, he's going to have his own angel and his own Supreme Kai. And the whole funny name pun I'm going to do with their names, it's going to be like a reference to Godzilla. See if you can catch it. What kind of reference I'm going for with the names of the angel and the Supreme Kai. Well, his angel and his Supreme Kai. But, yeah. How exactly would this happen? Usually I don't do what ifs where he's, born, unbelievably overpowered. Usually, there's an event and time after he's born where he's, shown to be incredibly overpowered, if I decide to make him incredibly overpowered. Well, basically, if you guys know what's going on in the manga, basically it's a heroes versus villains war, and eventually, Deku, Izuku, you know what I mean, kind of gets, I guess you could say, knocked into a coma, and he's just there, still kind of asleep. Bakugo wakes up before he does, so yeah, like, Izuku would just be left there to contemplate, you know, left to drift into the sea of his own, a sea of his own thoughts and beliefs, just to wander there, just drift off, and just he wouldn't really know what to do because this isn't really like all of the whole one for all thing that happened whenever you fought Shinso in the freaking UA Sports Festival. No, this is just pure darkness. Until he realizes something. He can feel some strange power. And he realizes there's a person, a blue skinned person. He calls himself the Grand Priest. And there's two people on either side of him. And basically, this is one of my children, a fellow angel. They have the name of Showa. And this is a Supreme Kai in training who would become a legit Supreme Kai if you were to, well, basically their name is Heisei. So basically, the angel's name is Showa, and the Supreme Kai in training / Supreme Kai's name is Heisei. And he's like, why is this important to me? And, the Grand Priest, GP basically just mentions, he's giving him a once in a lifetime offer. Become this universe's god of destruction, this universe's God. And he can basically right the wrongs of this world's past. Fix what's broken. And basically, essentially just, you know, put everything back together, nice and tidy, neat and tidy. He just has to abide by certain rules, and he also GP also mentions about the Omni King or Omni Kings, because the whole thing, the Goku Black Arc, or there being two freaking Omni Kings now in the same timeline. Basically, yeah. GP, Grand Priest, he basically lays down all the ground rules, and he's like, "Do you accept?" And Izuku's like, "Become this universe's god of destruction?" And basically, the Grand Priest did indeed explain to him that he can basically, destroy however he wanted to destroy. It wasn't like any certain thing. He can do his job. However, it's just he would have to answer to the Omni King at the end of the day if he did anything that he didn't like. Oh, and possible chance of erasure if the Omni King felt like it. And so yeah, that has Izuku afraid of the Omni Kings, because the ability to basically delete him if they don't like how he's been taking his job, if they don't think he's been taking it serious enough, or if they just don't like him. So basically, Izuku's like, "Fine, but only because I hate this. Only because I hate the way things have been going. And I want this to stop. I want to fix this." And so basically, GP is like, "Well, do you hear that, Showa? It seems you now have a God." So yeah, basically, Showa is basically Izuku's angel now, because now he's basically accepted the role as this universe's god of destruction. And basically, as a form of creator, that's basically what the Supreme Kai is supposed to be. Heisei is the Supreme Kai equivalent for Izuku. And Heisei is like, "I hope we can be able to work in harmony with each other. I don't want to have to tell you off to the Omni Kings." And Izuku is just like, "Something tells me he's gonna become a problem in the future. I can just feel it." And Sho was just like, Now, we should probably get to your domain." And Izuku's like, Yeah, that's great and all, but first, I have an order of destruction that I need to get out of my system." And Sho was like, "Well, what's that? What could that possibly be?" And Izuku's like, "I think you already know, Showa." And he just raises his finger, and he's like, "I'm not usually one for killing, but if it will stop all this pain and suffering, Shigaraki, you deserve this." Just tap. And then all of a sudden, the heroes that are fighting the villains, they just realize the villains are kind of fading away. It's kind of like Thanos. They're just fading away to nothing. It's just like, the heroes are just freaking out like, what the hell? And, Showa's just like, you only chose to kill the villains. And Izuku's like, they're the only ones that were the problem. Now, Showa, what did you say about that? And Showa's like, oh yes, that's right, your quarters. You see, now that you're a God, you have an entire planet to yourself. And Izuku's like, huh? I have a what to myself? And basically, Showa teleports them both to what is now Izuku's planet. And Izuku's just like, interesting. I would have at least liked to say goodbye to my mother, but I guess we can do that some other time. Hey, Showa? And Showa's like, very well. And eventually, Izuku does, say goodbye. He just pops up and, knocks the door, dink, dink, dink. And, Inko's like, coming! And whenever she opens the door, she sees Izuku in all this weird-ass getup. And she doesn't even care. She just embraces for, a freaking hug. And, Izuku just so didn't expect this that he almost Hakai's her. But, as Showa has told him before, he really isn't all that good at using destruction energy. Maybe in small doses, but he really doesn't have all that good of a mastery of a Hakai. So yeah, basically just blows up in his face. And he's just like, Mom, I came here to say goodbye. Possibly forever. Because you see, the reason why all those villains disappeared? I am that reason. This, well, you see what I'm wearing. This is basically the attire of God. Basically, this is the attire of a God. And Inko's like, what is a God? A god? And Izuku's like, right and wrong at the same time. God of destruction. That's why they all disappeared. They were destroyed with one tap of my finger. I was able to destroy them. Now I have sort of counterparts to my power. As you can see over here, my angel, Showa, and probably somewhere in the world of the Kais, Heisei, my Supreme Kai counterpart. They are responsible for creation. And I, as a god of destruction, am responsible for exactly that, destruction. Of certain planets. However, I've been looking over Earth, and you seem to be rebuilding perfectly fine. So, the mortal level is fairly decent. Nothing that would warrant possible destruction. Not anytime soon. Hopefully. And, Inko is like, what? Mortal level? Possible destruction? And Izuku's like, Mom, it's in the title, God of Destruction. If a mortal level of a planet is sufficiently low, it's kind of my job to destroy that planet. However, the mortal level of this planet, this Earth, this version of it, has been sufficiently rising enough, as of late, to the point where I don't really have any need to or see any need to destroy it. Just despite what a certain someone says. And by certain someone, he means the Grand Priest. And Izuku's just like, so as long as the mortal level of this planet stays sufficiently high enough, you can, you know, stay assured that you won't have to die. Or at least, that should be the case. But you never know with such fickle jobs as, God of Destruction. And I'm not even sure what number universe this is. So, well, just be glad that the people of this planet are making the effort that they have been making, or else you would have been destroyed a lot sooner. As much as I would have hated to do so, this planet would have been completely annihilated. That is my job, after all, as the god of destruction. And Inko was just like, so, where do you live as a god of destruction? And Izuku's just like, with my angel, I can't really say friend, I guess comrade, Showa. I have my own planet, apparently, now that I'm a god of destruction. Yeah. However, I also came to request, if you don't mind, some of the home pleasantries, if you know what I mean. And it goes like, you want me to cook? He's like, well, yeah, over in my planet, kinda really don't have the same food that we did back here. Or at least we had back here. So, I kinda miss the simple pleasantries of Earth food. It's been, I don't know how long since I've had you know what. And I long for the days whenever I could. And Inko's like, well, if we can have it as a family, a family dinner? And Sho was just like, I don't see why not. And, Izuku's like, well, you heard the man. This is the last time, at least for now, as a family, we eat. If you would be interested, Showa, you could possibly, you know, get into things. And Showa's like, well, of course. I am dying to see how this Earth cuisine truly tastes and why you would miss it so much. Because, Showa's never had Earth food before, so, you know, it's just the curiosity that kills the cat is just flowing through Showa's veins like angel blood in like a super blender. And, they eventually, do sit down to have dinner like a family. And Izuku eventually does point out, wow, you do seem to, is there anything on your mind, Mom? You seem to be acting kind of weird. And then Inko just comes out and says it. Ever since Izuku just, disappeared, she basically, was depressed. But instead of eating her way through her depression again and getting even worse, she decided basically to, you know, have another kid. But this time through adoption. But it looks similar enough to her. Had green hair and green eyes. So Izuku, basically, Izumi, don't be shy. And Izuku's like, wait, that's what the booster seat is for? And then Izumi just crawls into the booster seat and is like, Mommy? Who's that? And Izuku's like, well, at least you have something that will keep you from, doing anything stupid. It's just like, Izuku's happy that Inko is happy as she can be, being in her situation. And he even likes the name Izumi. And, he even figures out that Izumi wants to become a hero like how he wanted to become a hero. And he's just like, well, if anyone ever tells you that you can't, all I have to say is, you better prove them wrong, or else I'm going to destroy this planet. And Izumi is at least old enough to understand what he means. So he's like, well, I was going to do that even before you said that, but now I'm going to do it even more. I mean, I can't have you, as my brother, go destroying our home planet. And Izuku's like, even though basically it's like a separate thing, she still acknowledges him as her brother? This is interesting. And Sho is also thinking this, but is also stuffing her freaking face. Yes, Izuku's angel is a girl. Sho is a girl. And Sho is just stuffing her face. And Izuku's like, Showa, we need to leave. But first, and he just goes to like hug Inko. And then what he does next, he just hugs Izumi and just hoists her up into the air and just hugs her even tighter and just whispers to her, you better get very strong, very fast, because the next time I come to this planet, it will be to destroy it. I have to do my job, right? After all, I don't want to risk, complete and total erasure by the Omni Kings. And Izumi's like, who are the Omni Kings? And Izuku's like, two little football heads that you would probably get along great besides the whole erasure part. Or deletion, whatever they call it. So anyways, yeah. Next time I come here, you better have gotten a lot stronger. Because the next time I come here, it will be to destroy this planet. Whenever the mortal level is at the lowest it can get. That is whenever I will destroy it. So you better be on high alert, sister. Bye. And then they just use freaking like a super teleportation and just back to Izuku's planet. And they have freaking leftovers because Izuku made sure to get as many leftovers as possible. Because, he'd be loving that freaking earth food. And he's like, so what, you know, would be a good planet to... Oh, what's that planet over there? Hmm. That seems interesting. Doesn't seem to have many people. And the mortal level is pretty low. Well then, why bother going over there whenever I can just... Good riddance. It was like, shoo, and then the planet's just gone. And Sho was just like eating, not even paying really much, all that much mind. like to Izuku's like haphazard like destruction of just some random ass planet out in the space boonies. Basically the equivalent of the space boonies. And I'm gonna say that random ass planet was like even farther off than Vampa. Like it was even farther off from Frieza's influence than Planet Vampa. So it wasn't Vampa, it wasn't Namek, guys. Calm your tits. It wasn't Yardrat. Calm your tits. I didn't destroy a major planet in the series. Just some low mortal level planet that nobody really cares about. And Izuku just took care of the trash. He just he just threw away the trash, got rid of it so it wasn't stinking up the universe anymore. And Izuku just yawns. I think I'm gonna take a nice, good, long nap, Showa. And please don't wake me up. You don't want me destroying this planet, do you? And Showa's just like, jeez, why did I have to get the most unpredictable god of destruction possibly ever? And, basically Izuku just, like, falls asleep. Like, and it's just like, Showa's just like, well, I guess what is there to do now that he's gonna be asleep for a while? Who knows? And out somewhere like Planet of the Kais, Heisei, basically the Supreme Kai equivalent to Izuku, is monitoring life fairly well. But also gets the message that Izuku's going to come back to Earth in the future, and that the Earthlings better be strong, or basically, if they're not strong, he's basically just going to annihilate them. But that's like going to be in the future, and Heisei doesn't really know how to feel about that. I mean, the Supreme Kais are supposed to be like gods of creation, and he's just like, man, this guy's new and already he's making death threats. So yeah, that's it's like around 20 something minutes, like 28 minutes. So yeah, this is a relatively short part of a what if to start. But yeah, this is just something that I found and thought it might be something interesting. Not really found, more or less found in my own head. What if Izuku was a god of destruction of his own universe? And his first act would be to destroy all the villains that, were kind of, you know, uh, making it really hard on the heroes. Just like Zurg rushed them off the map. That was basically his first action as god of destruction of that universe. To get rid of all of the really, asshole villains. And, basically just to make the statement that he was going to come back one day and that his, I guess, like a half sister or something, like stepsister, I guess you could say, I believe it's considered stepsister, that his stepsister better be pretty damn strong whenever he comes back, or else, the planet's gonna suffer for it. Because, he basically scheduled it in his mind to only really wake up whenever Earth's mortal level, or at least his Earth, mortal level was at an all-time low. So that his, just to like, so that him, like, destroying the planet would be, like, justified. because it had like a shitty mortal level. That would basically be his justification. So yeah, so that's where I'm going to end off this part. I'm the Anadousis because the Dark Shadow Maverick is OUT out of here. Yeah, boys. Bye.